Alright, so I went ahead and opened up Dreamweaver, and you can see we have the basic welcome screen right here. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that because anything I need to open here, I can go ahead and do that later. The first thing I want to focus on is setting up our root folder with the site. Now, the root folder is the folder locally that holds all of our files for our website. It's important that we keep everything in the root folder because that'll help us link everything up correctly. Make sure once we finish our site, everything will still display properly. So I went ahead and just made just a plain folder on my desktop. I named it Dreamweaver-root, and now I need to go into Dreamweaver and set that root folder so it's associated with this website that I'm going to create right now. So first I'm going to go ahead and go Site, New Site, and it gives me a space right here. I can go ahead and name it. So I'm just going to call it My First Website. Right below that, it allows me to locate the folder, which I just created, Dreamweaver-root, and set that as my root folder. So I can just click on this folder icon right here, go to my desktop, and select root, and hit choose. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. So I can go ahead and associate that folder with this website I'm currently working on. Once we do that, we can see that it'll actually link it up right here in the top right. So you can see my files, and although my folder is empty, you can see that it's right here. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and create our first web page. So I'm going to go File, New, and we have a few different options here. For what we're doing, we're going to select an HTML page, and layout we're going to say None. I'm going to go ahead and hit Create. And we have our first web page now. There's nothing on it, but this is going to be the page we're going to make and use when we create all our different sites. One quick thing to look at, and just a brief overview before we get into this, is the basic setup at Dreamweaver. So right here is our main kind of area that we'd see on the page. If you look right up here in the top left, it's broken up into three different options, three different views really. We have Code, Split, and Design. One of the really nice things, and why Dreamweaver is so popular, it's a WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get, web editor, meaning that we can go ahead and, without writing any code, add text and images and things like that without having to actually write it. This is a big advantage, and this is why Dreamweaver is so popular, and this is why it's a really good tool to use for people who are just getting started in web design development. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that, but just kind of give you an idea. If I click over to Split View, on the left here I can see the actual code, and I can see the design. So if I add something here, you can see that once I type it in the design view, it'll add in the code view. Just like I could add some in the code view. And click over in the design view, it'll add that right there too. Or I can go strictly in the code view and see all my code on my site. For what we're doing primarily, we'll be in split view, but at certain points we might switch to design view. Also, we have the option for live view, which tries to emulate what our site will look like when it's actually live online. Always one thing to note when you're working with this, sometimes people will select that and not realize, or select and go on to something else and forget it's still selected, and then try to edit things and won't let them. This should be the first thing you check. So if you're trying to click through something and something's stuck, just double check and make sure live view isn't selected. So let me click off of that, delete this text. Alright, in the next video, we're going to go ahead and go through actually setting up our HTML document and adding some CSS styles.